Hi, Stacey.
Hello, how you going?
Hi, good. So Stacey is with us today, all the way from Coolum, Australia, which is
Yeah,
near Central
Sunshine
Coast.
Coast. Yep.
Yes,
Yeah,
hence she's a golden bronze beauty today,
yeah,
and
it's been very warm.
that's nice. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, lots of beach action's been very nice. Very, very spoilt where we live here in
Oh,
Australia.
so
Yeah.
nice, so nice. I would love to see it. And Stacey, you are an expert in hormone health. So I'm so excited to be able to chat with Stacey today, and that she's going to be sharing some of her wisdom with us. And so Stacey Foat is a hormone specialist, and she helps women balance their hormones so they can achieve their healthy ideal body, enjoy emotional balance, and lead healthy, hassle free lives. Wouldn't we all love to have a hassle free life? Oh, yes. Um, and what she's really passionate about is educating, empowering, and energizing women to take a stand for their health so they don't become victims to the devastating effects of unruly hormones, adrenal fatigue, underactive thyroid, and I know there was one more segment, underactive thyroid, that and of course infertility, and even as a final unwelcome outcome, breast cancer. So
Yeah.
Stacey, tell us a little bit about the work that you do and how you kind of came into this particular focus in your work with women.
Yeah, well, look, I've always been passionate about health, and in particular, through my journey of losing my mother-in-law to cancer and my father to cancer, preventative health is just huge. It's just so passionate about it, and it's something that I'm just really trying to just drum into everyone's heads. But then I love female health, and because of my own personal hormone journey, that's how I've really become to specialize in hormones, because it's, one piece of a big puzzle that's all eventually leading to the same end game, which, unfortunately for more and more people is becoming, cancer. And so, yeah, really, really passionate about getting that education out there for women in particular.
Yes. Now, when we met, so we met on a really neat conference that we were both at in
Yeah,
beautiful islands of Hawaii. And
yeah,
there we talked a lot about how your focus is on this really passion that you have for prevention. So, intervening in our lives as early as possible by becoming educated and empowered around different choices that women can be making to eliminate some of these risks from actually developing into disease. So we know that cancers take decades to develop, and it
mm,
probably takes years and years for what we consider to be infertility to
yeah,
develop.
absolutely. Nothing happens overnight.
Right. And of course, being fertile is the normal, healthy, thriving self. That's how we all got here, by our
Yeah,
ancestors being able to naturally have children. Um, And of course, being tumor free is a healthy design too, and tumors are only developing over time too. So, tell me a little bit about what you see as some of the things that are happening in our world or in women's lives that they may not be realizing that's affecting their kind of
yeah,
trajectory that their health is ending up on.
yeah. Well, I guess, look, one of the biggest things to note is that women are now, we're menstruating so much younger than what we always used to be. I mean, traditionally, going years and years, hundreds of years back, women weren't getting their periods until they were sort of 17, 18. And women and now girls are starting as early as age 9 and even 8. And it's a scary thing. That's not a natural evolution process. That's an evolution that's because of the result of the world we now live in. And
Yeah.
that's the toxic world that we now live in.
Yeah.
So it's pretty scary stuff. And the same sort of stuff that's causing that is the same sort of stuff that's causing infertility. So big thing, like I said, it's women being aware of what's going on in their bodies, and so and aware of their every single day choices that is actually affecting their bodies and their ability to reproduce. And the thing is, if you're leading a modern day, normal, standard Australian, standard American, Canadian lifestyle,
Yeah.
we're exposed to a whole lot of things every single day that are not good for our health.
Yeah.
But because they're always there, we've always had them. We just kind of assume it's all part of the norm, and these are the things I'm talking about, just environmental pollution,
Yeah.
things we're putting in our diet, medications we're taking. Obviously, the oral contraceptive pill's a big one.
Yeah.
And we'll probably talk about that in a bit more detail. But these are the things that, because they've just always been there, they're always there, this is the way we live, we don't give them any thought, but we actually have to actively protect ourselves from these things. We have to have some things in place on a day-to-day basis that are actually going to protect our bodies to prevent that hormonal imbalance, which ultimately is going to lead to infertility for a lot of women, unfortunately.
Yeah. So when you're talking about this idea of protection, is that what kind of measures do you recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? They don't have to be extreme measures that completely change your life and prevent you from doing the things you love to do day to day. But if you're doing a few things daily, weekly, and these are basic things, like something as simple as making sure you're having some kind of a green superfood smoothie every single day, because that way, if you have a diet that is, you're a bit guilty of enjoying, your sugar, or, you have your processed takeaway foods occasionally, if you're having at least a green smoothie once a day, that is such a simple, easy, and really quite a tasty way to just pack your daily nutrition full of antioxidants and superfoods, because they're the things that are going to repair your body at a cellular level and help your body to start eliminating some of these toxins we're absorbing. And that's simple, and there's a million ways to make a green smoothie. So, I make sure I load mine up with pineapple and banana. It's yummy. It's sweet. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be, a green full of just spinach and kale and spirulina and those things. Sure, they're in there, but they're not the main emphasis. So, yeah, I would die without my daily smoothie.
This is going to convey a little bit of ignorance, but I'm assuming pineapple grows in Australia.
It does, yes.
Okay, so you get to have the nice local ones, the female pineapples that they usually don't export, right? They're even sweeter than.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So, but you know what? I get a lot of my clients just to use frozen pineapple as well, because you know what? You want to put some kind of a cold base in your smoothie as well.
Yeah.
And sure, in the ideal world, if we were eating 100% fresh, 100% organic, that would be great. But it's just not practical, from a financial point of view, and from even the ability to have access to that sort of produce. So we do the best we can, and it's better than doing nothing at all.
Yeah,
so,
and my husband loves the fresh pineapple especially, and he loves picking it out at the store. But what I realized was that one, the ones that for export are the male pineapples somehow.
Yeah,
so they're not.
That's information I didn't even really know much about.
No, and
we take it for granted what we have in our backyard, basically.
You do?
Yeah, well, actually, we have pineapples growing. They take about 18 months to grow from seed to full fruit. But, we have them growing. They're super cute when they're little. And there's a pineapple farm, like a huge farm, literally 15 minutes down the road from where I live. So there you go. We take these things for granted. But if you can source some pineapple, be it even frozen, one awesome thing about pineapple is really, really high in bromelain in particular, which is a potent anti-inflammatory, but also really high in enzymes. And these enzymes are amazing for dissolving. A lot of women have issues with their fallopian tubes with a built-up of scar tissue and mucus, which can prevent fertility, can prevent conception. If you're eating a lot of pineapple, it helps dissolve and break down that mucus and scar tissue. So,
that's a great note.
Eat it till it hurts your tongue, basically.
You get that too. But that's why I like it in smoothies especially, because I feel like it somehow softens the way that it might dissolve the inner part of your mouth.
I think it's the enzymes starting to work. I think
I think it is that. Yeah. So that's a really great tip. So the anti-inflammatory benefits of pineapple, but it also kind of sweetens up this idea of a green smoothie. So maybe you can post or send us a little recipe.
Absolutely.
Make up of how you would make that nice and
absolutely no problem at all.
Yeah, and I agree with you on the cold. It would not be good to have a lukewarm or warmish green smoothie. That wouldn't work.
It's got to be chilled.
So what else are a couple simple tips that women can do to kind of take control of preventing some of these?
Well, look, it's another thing that's super, super important, and it's the same deal. It's we have to be actively eliminating, because, like I said, whether you lead a toxic lifestyle or not, you are absorbing toxins all day, every day from your environment.
Absolutely.
And so if you can make sure that your body's actively eliminating, and it's as simple as moving your bowels every single day, ideally at least twice. I mean, we really should be moving our bowels every 8 hours. So really 3 times in a 24-hour period. And there's not too many people that do that. I don't know what in Australia, it's very, very common for women to say they move their bowel, every second day.
Right.
And that's really setting your system up for a lot of toxicity. And when your system's toxic, your liver can't basically keep your hormones in check very well.
Right.
So finding measures to get your bowels moving every single day is pretty much your number one priority. If you're someone that is prone to that sluggishness, you need to seek help in any way, shape or form. See your specialist practitioner. It's not hard to get your bowels moving. If you've been sluggish for a long, long time, absolutely it takes a bit of retraining. It can take a few months, but it's your priority really.
Yeah.
This is probably a bit more of an out there concept, but I actually do, and I recommend a lot of coffee enemas and turmeric enemas with a lot of my clients.
Okay.
And I know that's, a bit of an out there concept. It can freak people out a little bit, but that is an amazing way to gently detoxify and cleanse your system. And I find women who start doing them, they maintain really healthy weight. They lose weight easily. Their skin clears up, their periods normalize. So if it's something you can get your head around, I'd highly recommend you looking into them a bit more, because I'm a big fan. I definitely do them myself here a couple of times a week.
Well, great. So because I know we're going to get questions about this,
yeah.
Can you give us an outline of what that would look like? Like, how would you do self-administered coffee or turmeric enema? I know that other wellness leaders have certainly mentioned this. It's not something that I personally have experience with, nor was it really taught in our naturopathic medical education. So I'm going to rely on you to explain how that all rolls out.
Yeah, absolutely, because I know it gets a lot of people thinking when they hear it for the first time. It is, but basically, you have a specialized enema kit. They're pretty easy. I mean, you can buy them online, no worries if you don't have access, but a lot of chemists will sell them. And you're basically just making up a solution. Like I said, I intertwine between coffee or turmeric. Now, the idea of coffee, what it does is when you're administering it anally and letting it sit in your bowel for about up to 10 to 15 minutes, it opens up the liver, the bile ducts, and it allows your liver to basically dump out all these stored toxins. Okay. So you basically, with your kit, administer the fluid, as little as 300 mils up to 800 mils, depending how experienced you are with holding them. And you'd basically just lay there and relax for 10, 15 minutes, and then you would get up, sit on the toilet, and have a liquid motion. So it definitely sounds bizarre, but, it's when you read and understand the benefits that they have, it's really something that it was a no-brainer for me. I'm definitely someone who's...
Yeah, go ahead. It is. I was going to say it's a traditional practice. It is.
Yeah, look, the Gerson therapy is where I originally got onto it quite a few years ago. He was the Gerson therapy for cancer.
Yeah.
So, it's used in cancer therapy, and because if you consider your colon is, basically think of it like your rubbish bin of your body. It stores all of our garbage, all of our junk, all of our toxin, and the average person has about 2 kilos of built up toxicity, mucus, waste, plaque, hardened, just, parasites.
Yeah.
Absolutely, biofilms. And so if you're walking around carrying that toxicity, I always give the analogy to a lot of my clients that if you were going to clean out your body, and so just to consider that you're a fish tank, and if you want to clean out that fish tank, you don't just pour the new water in the fish tank. You have to first empty out the old stuff. Yeah. And that's how then you've got a clean system. And it's exactly the same. So if you want to go on, renew your cells, cleanse your body, you've got to first do a bit of a colon cleanse. Yeah. And I know a lot of detoxification protocols will implement that. And I do it. And if you just absolutely cannot get your head around doing an enema, there's a lot of internal bowel cleansing protocols that are amazing. But for me, the enemas are a great maintenance thing. Like I said, I do at least 2 or 3 a week. Yeah. I find them, I meditate while I'm doing them, so it's downtime. Yeah. Like I said, I put my hand up, I'm guilty. I'm a bit of a sweet tooth. I love my chocolate. So for me, if I'm doing them each week, I don't put on weight. I don't get skin breakouts. I don't have any issues. So it's just keeping the system clean really quickly, really effectively. Yeah.
And then what about for the turmeric version? I've never heard of a turmeric enema.
Yeah, well, turmeric's just, it's less stimulating. So if I put someone on a 2-week protocol where I have them do one every second day for 2 weeks, to do that many coffee ones a week would be maybe a little bit stimulating. Maybe it would stimulate the adrenals a little bit. And because it is executing quite strong detoxification, you're going to lose minerals as you're detoxing as well. So turmeric's just a lot more gentle approach, and it's also very anti-inflammatory. So if you've got someone who's got a bowel that gets irritated, or they've had any kind of irritation going on, it's just a really lovely, gentle way to to just flush out the bowels and stuff like that. So turmeric's very easy to make up. Heat teaspoon of organic turmeric powder, whack it in just a mug with boiling water. I let it sit there for a few minutes, and then I just pour that into the kit, and then I add some cool water to add up thing, and then off you go.
So it's kind of like a tea made from the turmeric, the ground turmeric powder, which you can easily get in the grocery store.
Absolutely.
Purchased turmeric before.
Yeah, it's a really cost-effective way to do them. I mean, it's similar to colonic irrigation. I'm not sure if you guys do it over there. But, I mean, colonic irrigation is different, but it's a similar principle. You're going in and you're flushing out your inside. So you're not getting as much of a high up, sort of we're really just flushing the bowels and the colon. And then, of course, that stimulates the liver and the gallbladder to release. But with the colonic you're sort of getting further up through the intestines, I think, as well. But, much cheaper. They're free to do at home once you've got your enema kit, which, I mean, in Australia, they're about $47 for a kit. Okay. And that will last you 12 months if you cleaning it each time you use it. So it's not expensive. Very cheap to do. Yeah.
Yeah. You just keep your own bin and separate from your partners or whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own colon hydrotherapy kit at home.
Yeah.
You just line them up.
Yeah.
I know that Kelly Brogan, who's integrative psychiatrist, mentioned that an enema
she's fantastic.
Routine, her morning routine every day. She says that she does a coffee-based enema. So
yeah, wow. Look, I mean, like I said, I'll do probably 4 a week. Yeah. And look, I couldn't live without them now. I really couldn't. I feel amazing for doing them. I mean, when I first started doing them, probably 4 or 5 years ago now, without changing anything in my diet, I dropped 4 kilos in about 6 months, and I didn't realize I had 4 kilos to lose at the time, but I'm definitely much happier now with that 4 kilos, but didn't change my diet at all, didn't change my exercise regime. It was just that really flushing out that toxicity really helps that liver to burn fat more effectively as well. So that's usually a draw card for a lot of women if it gets them over the line to giving them a go.
Right. Yeah. And the liver is certainly an underappreciated organ when it comes to both weight loss, but hormone regulation and fertility. So it's so easy to forget that liver is regulating those hormone levels. Although it may not be making sex hormones, it's making a lot of the other compounds that complement our fertility. And make bile, which is a definitely needed substance for detoxification to remove those toxic hormones from our body, right?
Yeah.
And to regulate the steroid hormones is literally breaking them down when we don't need them anymore, and then
that's it. It's eliminating.
Yeah, and we're not recycling.
Yeah, well, because as I mentioned earlier, how about women are menstruating so much earlier, it's all to do with estrogen dominance. And because we have this phenomenon where we have so many women on the oral contraceptive pill or injections or implants, HRT, we have this massive amount of synthetic estrogens in particular. And if you're not recycling and moving them out of your body, they're going to build up in your system, lead to estrogen dominance, which is going to lead to infertility and, painful periods, migraines, heavy periods, hormonal acne, PMS, all those usual things. So, and even if you're not someone that's on the oral contraceptive pill, this freaks people out a little bit, but because there are so many women on these, they're metabolizing these estrogen metabolites out through their urine, which is eventually leading in water supplies. So if you're not drinking filtered water, I know in Australia it's a big issue, I'm not sure over there, but if you're just drinking normal tap water from, you're drinking estrogen in your water. And that's why we have men who get breast cancer. And we get, little boys with man boobs and stuff like that, because there's so much estrogen in the world. And then there's the issue of, non-organic meats, with their, so it's a big issue.
Yeah, it is. This idea of feminizing males of other species, could be humans, could be animals.
Absolutely. Yeah, fish and all those sorts of things in the rivers. Yeah, it's huge.
I think here there's an awareness that water is treated, but there's an assumption that makes it pure or safe. I think people that there's a taste of chlorine in the water, at least in our area. But I filter that out. But a lot of people are using filters that maybe take that out, but not much else.
Not much else.
It's important to realize that substances like estrogen metabolites, like other people's other prescription drugs, like there's SSRIs in drinking water, there's pesticides and herbicides. So I do highly recommend a filter. What kind of filtration system do you like the most?
Well, personally, I'm always still researching. I don't think you, but I personally have it's called an ultra stream, and it's an alkalizing one which removes fluoride and all that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah.
But then you research other things and you hear that, oh no, you shouldn't alkalize your water too much, or so
Yeah.
yeah, it is an ongoing thing. But that's the one I'm using at the moment.
Yeah.
And look, I'm really happy with it, but I'm always open to hearing new things about water filters. I think technology is always changing and stuff like that.
Well, it's going to be such a need in the future, with all the different shortages of water and things like that too that are happening. And we at home just use a carbon filter, but it does filter out like dozens and dozens of chemicals. It's amazing, and it doesn't require any hydro or electricity. So it's like manual, it uses gravity, and it's kind of in stainless steel canisters. So the only plastic that's involved is just at the spout.
Yeah, great. Yeah, look, there's a lot of filters out there. You do have to be a little bit proactive and do some research, really.
Yeah. So you have so much knowledge and so much passion to support women's health, and especially from this hormonal front, which is a complex symphony, and so many things can throw that out of tune. When women first come to see you, what are they struggling with? What is bothering them that they
well, see, I work with women who sort of the age bracket I really attract a lot of is sort of 18 to 36-year-old. They're not necessarily actively trying to conceive right now, although a lot of them are, but they've got hormonal acne, or polycystic ovarian syndrome, endometriosis, weight gain and adrenal fatigue, painful heavy periods. So they're the really classic things that I do a lot of work with, and that I guess I attract that age group because, like I said, I'm so passionate about prevention. I want to help these women so they don't end up with infertility when it's time. Well, they probably already have it, but when they try and start to conceive, how emotionally devastating is it when you're trying to have a baby and you can't conceive? But then also even preventing women from going through horror menopauses, and like the big one, preventing breast cancer. So if I can get women while they're in their 30s, 20s and 30s, and there's still a lot of time to go and reverse and keep things in check, that makes me really happy.
Yeah, awesome. So when women work with you, what does that look like? Is that in your clinic? Is that online? How does the treatment plan usually roll out for them? What do they experience and get out of it?
Yeah, well, look, I do both. I do a lot of Skype consultations now because I'm seeing women all over Australia and beyond, some internationally as well. But you have to, for women first, but you have to understand that there's no quick fix, and so when we sign up for a minimum of a 3-month program with me, because it's basically a 7-step healing process. I have it's called the Balance Me system that I use, that I've created, and it's basically going through and treating at that cellular level, giving the body what it needs so that it can actually heal itself. Because, and this is a big one where I'm very controversial with some of the things I say, there's this huge belief that endometriosis is incurable. Well, I think that's absolute bullcrap. Your body can heal itself from endometriosis, but the problem is there's too many blocks in the way that their body isn't healing themselves. So we go through and we just clear those blocks, and it's a 7-step process which I can go through if you want to hear it.
Yeah, how does that go?
Look, the first step is basically about eradicating the underlying infection. Okay, there is always an underlying infection, and it could be something as simple as candida, dysbiosis in the gut. Often it's an underlying viral infection, but these things will get in there and they mess up that gut microbiome, which prevents our body to be, metabolizing hormones and moving them out of our system.
Yeah.
The second step, I'll go fast. I could talk about this stuff for ages, but I'll go fast. The second step is cleansing that bowel, like we've already said, going through and just getting the junk out. So we're creating an environment that is hospitable for, growing and building that healthy gut microbiome. Third step is healing the gut. Fourth step is then detoxing the liver. Fifth step is dressing the adrenals. Yeah. So when your adrenals are stressed out, which all these women do at this stage because of their busy lifestyles, but because they've been unwell underlying for quite some time with these infections or in this leaky gut and this sort of stuff, you've got to calm the adrenal down, because until the adrenals aren't in that state of panic, so to speak, your hormone overall will never be balanced. And then that final step is basically nutrition, then nailing nutrition. And then the final step is, which we start working on that all the way through. Then the final step is basically modulating the immune system. Because we know in particular for endometriosis, for example, that's an autoimmune condition.
Right.
You know, a lot of infertility issues are autoimmune related, you know. And it's not just, it's just balancing that immune system so that we don't have any of that, you know, underlying, not so an autoimmune disease, but where your body is, you know, immune system's just not working properly. It's not identifying what it needs to do, and that leads to our hormonal imbalance as well, because our immune system communicates so directly with the hormones as well, through the cytokines and stuff like that.
That's amazing. I think that those are 7 pillars that are largely under-recognized.
Yeah, but they're all really quite simple things, and I guarantee you can address those things. Yeah, they're all doable. They're all, you know, you might have it stuck in your head, well, I can't heal my endometriosis, but I can definitely heal that underlying infection. I can definitely cleanse my bowel. I can definitely heal my gut. So focus on those things. And once you've got those things, I guarantee you, your body knows how to heal itself of endometriosis when those 7 things are sorted out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, getting that information's out important.
Yeah, and I think that inflammatory autoimmune piece is so important to address with something like endometriosis, because I don't have one woman who I work with who has this condition who's ever been told there's an autoimmune or inflammatory component. Inflammation is, of course, coming from the immune system. The immune system is responding with inflammation to something. So perhaps it is an underlying infection, perhaps it is something triggering you in your diet, it's that leaky gut. And the other piece that I was so fascinated to hear is that you're implementing a targeted adrenal support, because adrenal fatigue is like a crisis, like a health pandemic, right? Especially among women.
Think of it like your body's got a flat battery. So how can your body create the energy to heal itself if it's already behind the 8 ball, already fatigued? And that's a big one. Yeah.
And so many women, especially by the time they're in fertility treatment mode, they are pushing from adrenaline, they're pushing from nothing, they kind of need caffeine or coffee to get through, they're tired, they're exhausted, they're not irritable, they're not themselves. And it's you know, this underlying not quite well, plus the stress of what's going on in life with fertility or your work or your relationship. And it really takes it out, and we don't take the time to heal, let alone support with these targeted measures. So this is really neat. So so those 7 pillars would be going over 3 months of work together.
Well, yes, that's sort of we lay the foundation, because you get a lot of, I mean, with my program, for example, there's only so much time I can sit and talk with you one-on-one. So you have the opportunity to log on to the membership and listen to the videos and educate yourself as well.
Fantastic.
But in terms of, depending on what women are coming in for, I mean, if women's coming in for something as simple as hormonal acne, 3 months, we can completely turn their skin around. But if you had, you know, endometriosis, you're looking at you might spread those treatment protocols out over a longer period, because say it might take, rather than taking 2 to 4 weeks to eradicate the underlying infection, it might take 3 months alone just of, you know, antimicrobial, anti-candida herbs just to eradicate the infection. It's always a case by case. And that's why we, you know, obviously have one-on-one coaching sessions where I'm constantly health evaluating and seeing where they're at and, you know, what they specifically need. Yeah. But we're always working off that 7 key balance me healing system. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. So where can folks learn more about you, what you do, the Balance Me system? How can they get in touch with you?
Well, look, my website's probably the best start, and it's just www.balancedbabes.net. But I also have quite an active Facebook group as well called Balanced Babes, which it's free to join, and then you can ask as many questions as you like. I'm constantly posting, and you hear me rambling on a lot in there and sharing things. So that's a great place. Those 2 places are really, really good as well. So you can talk to me directly there and see what we're all about in a bit more detail and find out about some of the programs that are specialised for different things.
Amazing. Well, Stacey, I feel like we could talk about this.
I know.
I hope we can book another time and share more of your wisdom and your passion. I want to thank you so much for your presence.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for your dedication to women's health and to helping them live those balanced lives that they crave and they deserve, and that is, you know, theirs by design.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Overcome the challenges that are abounding in our modern lives today. And I hope that women will check out your Balanced Babes group and your information on your website. And I'm going to pop in there too.
Great, do.
And
Yep.
Yes, I would love to connect with you there too, and hopefully engage with your posts and your passion. And I've learned things today. Thank you so much.
No worries. My pleasure.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, honey.
Okay, thank you, Stacey.
See ya.